Don't like crowds? Couldn't get away? No worries, mate. We scour every booth to find the latest cool stuff for you. Here's what I found at the boat show. We're here at the Pacific Strictly Sale with Dan from Flexofold. They've got a great new prop. You have to check out how this folding prop works. So Dan, tell me how it works.
It's pretty simple. Everybody is looking for a reduction in drag under sail so they can go faster. So the single biggest thing you can do to improve the performance of your boat under sail is to get rid of a fixed prop. A 15-inch fixed prop, if you're letting it rotate while you're sailing, it's about 40 pounds of drag. If you're letting it, if you're locking it in gear while you're sailing, it's about 95 pounds of drag. Our 3-blade prop is less than 3 pounds. It's 2.7 pounds of drag under sail. So you're going to go half a knot, 3/4 of a knot, depending on your boat's size and the conditions, maybe up to a knot faster under sail. Got one customer whose wife enforces the Mayflower rule. If you can't keep sailing at the average speed of the Mayflower crossing the Atlantic, he has to put the motor on. So that was 3 or 3 1/4 knots. So he's able to keep sailing longer with a Flexofold. I had another owner reported on a 42-foot boat, they picked up a full knot of boat speed on a beam reach. Went from 7 knots to 8 knots when they replaced their fixed blade prop. We can do a 2-blade or a 3-blade. We can fit any kind of shaft or sail drive, and boats up to probably 65 or 70 feet and down to as little as 25, 26 feet. So we've got a product for 80 or 90% of the boats that are out there sailing around today. How it works, you just saw how it opened. It's very simple. It closes when you're sailing. It opens when you're under power. Centrifugal force does that. And we've got some features built in that that force the prop to open as it begins to rotate also. You see this overlap here. This prop turning in reverse, the water will hit the blades here and start to force it to open, as well as just the gravity of the blades forcing them to open. Same thing in forward. We've got that same sort of overlap built in forward that's going to do the same thing. The other difference is that really separates Flexofold from the masses of other low drag props out there is that our blade design is so much more advanced. The shape of the tip, the shape of the blades, the fact that it's actually an airfoil section on the blade. If you look at it from the side, you can see it's got a shape like your sails do. It's got a lift side, a suction side, as well as a thrust side. So it's actually generating lift as well as thrust. That makes it more efficient than virtually any other prop on the market. More efficient than a fixed prop even, according to a test done at the University of Berlin a few years ago. So we do 2-blade, 3-blade, 4-blade. We do a racing model, and this is our standard 2-blade. Now, why would you want a 2-blade versus a 3-blade?
Good question.
Good question. The 2-blade is inherently more efficient than a 3-blade because this, see, you responded like most people do. This blade rotates a half a revolution before it encounters the turbulence from the other blade. A 3-blade only rotates a third of a revolution before it hits that turbulence. So a 2-blade is in an undisturbed flow longer than a 3-blade, so it's more efficient at, again, creating thrust. However, there's always a caveat, right? There's always a but. The 3-blade has more blade surface area.
Right, okay.
So if you've got a high horsepower engine, if you've got a heavy boat, if you're concerned about motoring through head speeds, through head seas, or starting and stopping quickly in docking situations, the blade surface area of the 3-blade does a better job in that situation. And kind of the crossover point between 2-blade and 3-blade is once you get up around 35 to 40 feet, that's the range where you're kind of in an either or. It's not an absolute rule, but like most rules of thumb, those things are made to be broken. But that's sort of the range where I start thinking 3-blade over 2-blade. So,
can you explain to me when you go in reverse how this works? Because it looks to me like it just collapses when you go in reverse.
No, it doesn't. All of our owners that I talk to at this show and every other show say when they replaced a fixed prop with ours, they noticed no difference in reverse performance. The old myth is that folding props didn't go backwards. That's not true. I had a Pearson 40 owner tell me he could stop his boat from 6.5 knots in 15 seconds, which we figured out was about a boat length and a half. We have a Hansa 40 at the factory going from about 8 knots with our 4-blade prop to a dead stop in 2 boat lengths. So what happens is the centrifugal force of these blades We had a physicist calculate this for us. It's about 10 times the thrust of the prop in reverse. So it will absolutely stop the boat. You will go backwards. There's no meaningful difference in performance really compared to anything else on the market or to the fixed prop that you may have on your boat right now. So that's, you know, the old myth about folding props is an old myth. One other thing, we talked about how the centrifugal force opens the blades. On this sail drive, I can show you in less than 1 revolution at a fraction of the speed your engine turns that prop at, it is open. And it doesn't matter which direction, forward or reverse, works the same way, either way. 1 revolution at a fraction of idle speed and the prop is open, and it's going to stay open.
So now you see why I said this is such a novel folding prop. If you want more information on this, go to flexofold.com.